Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
Good morning, and thank you for starting your championship Saturday right here on WBNG and the Southern Tier Kickoff Show. We are in the red zone as we have just a couple of shows left for you this season, but before we put the ball in the end zone for 2024, we still have Conference Championship Week, and of course next week the Army-Navy game exclusively here on WBNG and 12 Sports. So let's go ahead and snap the ball on Championship Saturday here and bring in the rest of the starting lineup for the STK team. Kevin Quinn and Kyle Spizak to my left, and Michael Villegas here from 12 Sports on my right. Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Championship football, we're doing great.
I mean, Mountain West Championship last night was an instant classic. Getting into the big boys today, can't get better than that.
Which one of you guys had Ashton Genty as well as your...
That would be...
that's why you brought it up, huh?
Wait a minute. It was definitely me.
One of you guys had McCord.
Oh, no, you had
McCord. I had McCord because I had to take someone other than Genty.
You gotta get the record straight here.
I've been on the Genty train since week 2. Let's get that there.
All right. Well, next week we'll break down and we'll pick our finalists for the Heisman again one more time. But before we do anything, let's get into it because there is a few big games going on around the Southern Tier here this morning. One of them, of course, the number 2 team in the country, Cortland, at home to host the NCAA Regional Finals and the 23rd ranked Springfield Pride. Kevin, I know you and I were talking earlier this week about this matchup. What can you tell us about what's going to hit the field at the top of the hour?
Yeah, well, there's only 8 unbeaten teams in Division III college football, and 2 of them meeting this afternoon just up I-81. The Cortland Red Dragons hosting the Springfield Pride for the 3rd round of the Division III playoffs. These 2 teams meeting for the first time since the 2021 NCAA playoffs, where Cortland came out on top 26-21. Preparing for Springfield will be a little different than usual for the Red Dragons as they run a triple option offense, which leads Division III nationally with more than 450 rushing yards per game. They have 5 different players averaging more than 50 yards a game on the ground. Cortland's riding a 23-game win streak into this one, and their Division III All-American quarterback Zach Boyce says they need to bring their all to keep that going.
Play physical football, man. You know, it's football in December. You gotta play tough. You gotta play smart. We gotta protect the ball, and we gotta make a lot of plays on offense. You know, we gotta capitalize. We gotta, play in Springfield. You gotta score points when you have the ball. So excited for the challenge and looking forward to it.
Some keys to the game here for the Red Dragons. Number 1, get things going on the ground. It's December football. Things are cold and they get physical. Cortland needs to have long, sustained drives with running back Ethan Gallo featured in order to take control. Number 2, sell out to stop the run. Springfield only threw the ball 6 times in their last game. The Red Dragons need to know the football is likely to stay on the ground, and they got to step up and make those tackles. Number 3, win the turnover battle. The Pride may not throw the ball a lot, but an interception on just one pass could turn the tide in what's shaping up to be a shootout in a very, very close game.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a chance to get up on Wednesday and talk with head coach Kurt Patrick about the game and what they needed to do to come out with a victory. And as you mentioned, stopping the run, one of the big things he talked about was time of possession and ball control. When you play a triple option team, when you play someone like Springfield, you may not get as many possessions. We talked about it a little bit with Army-Navy and going up against Notre Dame, being able to maximize on those possessions. You mentioned Ethan Gallo, but I know Alfano St. John, the wide receiver, is another big part of that offense. What can you tell us about him?
I mean, having a good wideout is going to be huge in a game when you really are going against that triple option because it's so run heavy. That's all everybody has their mind on is run heavy, run heavy, run heavy. Like you mentioned, they want to get the ground game going for Cortland. But if you get that ground game going, that then opens up those passing lanes and creating separation. You got a guy like him. You're able to get him the ball downfield. Those huge explosive plays, that's what's going to be important for Cortland and making that run for their 2nd national championship in a row.
I know a big part of that national championship is that defense. We talked a little bit about it, stopping that run. You got a chance to highlight a couple of the All-Americans that are up there, including the defensive end, Nick Lodardo. What does the defense bring?
Lodardo himself, big number 95, is a dominant defensive end on that edge. He'll set that edge on top of that, and I think that defensive line could really get the defense or the run game stopped on that one.
And just finally, Kevin, real quick, being that the fact that this game is here at Grady Field, what type of advantage does that have at home?
Definitely, you have your home fans behind you. It's not like you're playing a team from down south that doesn't know how to play in this cold weather. Springfield, of course, coming from Massachusetts. But, just being in that home stadium in December, playoff energy, riding such a big win streak like the Red Red Dragons are, should give them a little bit of momentum.
All right, awesome. And as mentioned, this is not the only big game going on here with the team from the 607 on Saturday. The #1 ranked team in New York State, the unbeaten 13-0 Maine Anwell Spartans. They'll kick off at 3 o'clock for the Class B championship. But before that, early this morning, Moravia hit the turf at the JMA Wireless Dome for the 8-man championships. And 12 Sports' Keith Savage is live right there, right now, for the New York State High School Football Championships with more. Keith, how's it going at the Dome?
Yeah, Zach, it's great right here. I'm not in the cold. It's nice and warm. I was here bright and early at 8 a.m. For JMA, they were packing with a lot of games, and the one that started off was Moravia. Moravia against Frankfurt Schuyler. That did not go the Blue Devils' way. 70-28. 9 off dropped the Maroons, and they could not be stopped. Every single one ended up being a touchdown, but if you're the Blue Devils, you still have to be happy on how this season. You lost to Trumansburg in the Section 4 title and beat them in the semis to get to this game. You got to remember how this loss fails and make sure that you have that momentum going to 5. But at 3 p.m., it's the Maine Anwell Spartans, the team everyone loves. Last time they lost was at this field against Ryan in the state championship. They tried to get a 3, they could not do it.
All right, we seem to be having a little bit of technical difficulties. It's funny, the JMA Wireless Dome, formerly the Carrier Dome, never any Wi-Fi and never any AC in the unit, huh?
Kind of ironic.
Yeah, Syracuse alum, right? All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about that game that he was going to be talking about. #1 ranked team in the state, Class B, 13-0, Maine Anwell. They are going for their 4th straight trip to the Dome. Now, last year not as successful, losing 28-7 to Rye, but I know you got a chance with our preseason playbooks talking about being hunted. The hunters, not the hunted. Yeah. You know, what can we expect this afternoon at 3?
Hopefully a great game. I mean, they're back there, and like you said, they were hungry. I mean, they've been a dominant, I would say, dynasty in high school football here in the Southern Tier, and now they lost last year, and that stung them. And they came out hungry this season, and like you said, they took on that mantra that they're the hunters this season, and I think Coach Gallagher has really took that upon the team and make that their thing this year, and that what motivates them. And you see it every time they hit the field. I mean, how many times have we gone to games and covered them, and their run game, their pass game? I mean, Ocker can get it done. It's a pick your poison on that team, and I think Coach Gallagher, the way he runs it, and when I saw early on in that preseason playbook that the way they run practice, it just felt like a different type of practice, the way they ran it. So I hope for a good game today.
All right, and make sure everyone stays tuned as well, because we will have highlights from that game. Excuse me, sorry about that. We'll have highlights from that game at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. I'll be there myself. I'm going to go tag out for Keith up at the Dome, and I will be there as well. We got basketball, Lemoyne, the battle for I-81, interstate battle, of course. But we have lots more to talk about this morning. We will be back on your Southern Tier Kickoff show in just a moment.